Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for another edition of Digital Soul Presents Season 3. I got a very good friend of mine on board right here, man. Multi-instrumentalist. For all you non-music people out there, that means he plays various instruments and very damn well. He is
Wow.
the leader and
Thank you,
founder
thank
of
you, my brother.
SlapBak.
Good
And
to be here, man. It's good
yeah,
to be here.
and
Good to
one of
see
the
you.
and one of the funkiest brothers I know, man, on the planet, Mr. Jara Harris is in the house. What's up, Jay? How you doing, my
Man,
brother?
man, I'm blessed, bro. Just happy to be here still. You know what
That's
I'm
what's
saying?
up. That's what's up.
Man, I gotta say, I didn't know you play percussion.
I play a few things too, just like
Man, I
you
didn't
know.
know that. I'm like, okay. I
Yeah,
think, all right, you were
yeah,
killing it. Yeah,
yeah.
man.
I got some stuff out there, man. I've been
Yeah,
working for a while.
respect. I
Yeah,
did not know that.
yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to come sit in with SlapBak sometime.
I would love that. I would love that. Cause yeah, we actually actually the last time I saw you, you actually jumped on the stage with us at that park
Right.
in LA, and you jumped up at the end with us. So I got a chance to kind
Right.
of jam with you a little bit then.
Yeah, yeah, you guys are killing that.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, man. And
That's
speaking of
good.
killing, man, you guys got a gig coming up next week at
Yeah,
the
man,
Mint.
we're doing a record release party.
Yes,
Funk,
yes,
Funk Lives Matter.
yes, yeah.
So yeah, we're looking forward to that. It's the first time we're playing all the new stuff, but we're also playing some older slapback classic stuff, you know. So we haven't done a show like this in a while. So it's gonna be cool. We're gonna play for like 90 minutes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Y'all gonna stretch out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Y'all gonna stretch. I heard that.
Looking forward, looking forward to it, man.
Now, I want to tell my viewers, man, Brother Jared has sent me an advanced copy of the album, The Funk Lives Matter. Every song on there is classic slackback material. Like if you've been following these cats and these ladies, you know, it's a fusion of brothers and sisters in this group. If you've been following them for the last several decades, you know what they're going to bring. You know what it's going to be about, and this album does not disappoint.
Oh man, yeah. Oh
So I'm
man,
very
I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you, my
yeah,
brother.
man.
Thank you.
So I'm very privileged to be one of the first few that you kind of sent that out, and
Yeah.
this sing along so far has been my favorite that I've been kind of going
You
along.
know
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, the sing along without, yeah, it's different, man. I love that shit, man.
Yeah. You know that one is different. That's why I'm kind of I love when people pick songs that are a little different. You know, and
Yeah,
that's like not a song I would think people would really pick out. But that's kind of become the song that the band likes lately.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
I've always been kind of like that, man. I've always kind of been like an album cut, kind of a left field
Right.
stuff, or like, oh, that's different. So that kind of stuff I always kind of gravitate towards that anyway,
You
man.
know, you know the funny thing is that line, that main line, that riff of the song came from Jesse, the drummer.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he sent me that on his phone, and it was like went a bunch of different places. I'm like, dude, let's just loop those first four bars, because that's banging right there. But yeah, man, it's so cool thing about this record is everybody collaborate. This is probably like the most band record since Fast Food Funketeers, where we did it old school. We like playing in the studio live, did the drums and bass, guitars, usually live, and then do overdubs. So it has that feel like the band.
You could
Yeah,
tell.
I've had so many different versions of Slapback that a lot of times in between, I'm just doing the records myself and then throw TJ on there and whoever's was ever in the band at the time. But
Yeah.
we've had a solid unit for about you know 5 years, and it was cool to do something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Who do you have in the current lineup of Slapback this year?
See what?
Who do you have in the current lineup of Slapback this year, and what do they play?
Just Jesse Collins on drums, uh, Gus Day on guitar. That's my daughter's fiance. My daughter's in it too. Jazz Harris.
All right.
Got my wife Elise Harris on keys. TJ Quake and Deja Kane. She's the newest member. She's been with us for a year.
Okay.
Boy, this girl fits like a glove. She was like the missing link.
Okay.
Yeah. Did,
Yeah.
did I did I say all seven? I think that's it, right?
Yeah. 7 people. Yeah.
I'm
There's so many
Asian,
of
man.
y'all.
I think I got them all. Yeah.
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 One of the things that's super dope about SlapBak, man. It's always been like a family affair. Throughout the years.
Yeah.
When you guys first started, you have your sisters in the band,
That's
your
right.
brother and so
Yeah.
forth, like that. In and out the band. Talk about your beginnings, man, because all you got, you and your siblings, man, you guys are super fucking talented, man. You guys are killing it. Like growing up, what was that like? A very musical household? Or?
Yeah, it was always SlapBak was always a weird thing because we grew up in Mission Viejo, so we grew up in a white neighborhood, so we really had a mix down there. So SlapBak was always a mixed band, and it was kind of a weird thing when we came out because it was that time where like in the '80s, it kind of got really open to uh, different nationalities and bands that were starting to expand that way. But then the '90s kind of reversed a little bit. It was all about kind of like hip hop, and everybody's wearing like the Malcolm X medallions.
Yeah.
It got very much that. So we kind of came at a weird time where people love it like in the beach cities, but some of the some areas, some black audiences kind of were thrown off by it. But then they would get with them once they heard it. But
Yeah.
our image was so out there, kind of like Fishbone. We're like a cross between like Fishbone, Chili Peppers, and P-Funk. So
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good ball of what you was. I think so.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
cool. And so it's weird now. It seems like they get it more of what we're doing now than they did back then. And people always say, "Oh man, I like the old stuff." I'm like, back when we were doing the old stuff, everybody was like, "Hey, you guys need a hit. You guys just need a hit." You know what I mean? It's like I go so now those old songs are like people dig the old stuff now. I'm like, okay.
You can never make people happy,
You know what I
right?
mean? It's just fun. It's funny how it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Just the way it goes.
Yeah.
But
And
it's good. You know what? It's good. It's good vibes right now, and I'm very happy to be back doing what we're doing. Because
yeah.
for a while there, I didn't know what I was gonna be able to do. I couldn't even speak for 5 months, so I didn't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. What a blessing.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, man.
Yeah, I know, my brother. I know me and you've been, crossing paths for many years. I know your history, and I know your
Yeah,
background, and
yeah,
I know what it is, my brother. I know.
right. Yeah.
Let me tell you 'cause one thing I don't think I've ever shared with you, man. How I even got into you guys. I was actually working at Warehouse Records in 1993 after I graduated from high school. I
The
know you.
warehouse. I remember the warehouse.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
you remember the warehouse. I was actually working there, and back then they had 99-cent bins, and
Okay.
I'm after work I would get off work, go through the bin, find those cutout corner CDs, and I'm thumbing through,
Right.
not thumbing through, and I see this CD with French fries on it, and I'm wondering, well, what the hell is this? So I see the word funk, and of course I am and still am a funk head,
Right.
so I
Right.
see that fast food funketeer, so I'm looking at it and. I said, well, this looks pretty interesting. I see Bootsy, I see George Clinton, I see Larry Blackmon. I said, well,
Right.
this got to be good. So I buy it. And,
Yeah.
and that CD stayed in my 68 Volkswagen for about 2 years after that.
Wow. Wow, man.
So
That's
that's how
cool.
I actually discovered you guys in the 99-cent bin. It was a cutout CD that I still have to this day when I was working at the Warehouse Record. That's how I discovered SlapBak.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what's funny is I remember, back I'm like in my early 20s, is that first record out, and sometimes you go by a record store, you just want to see your product in the stores back then. And I
Mhm.
remember warehouse, I would never ever see SlapBak CDs. They're always at Tower Records. But the warehouse was always hard to find. So it makes sense that you found it in the 99-cent bin.
It was the best night I spent in a long time too. I tell you,
That's
man,
funny.
I kept that CD in my car because I had a, back then in the 90s, I had two 10-inch woofers in the back of my and a
Oh,
bug. In a bug. So I redid the whole sound system. So it was great, man. So that CD kind of carried my way up until about 95, until the
man.
next one came out, which was I think Blue Light Special. Or was it
Oh, you have Blu-ray Special?
I do.
Wow.
I
Because
do.
that one never came out. That was just like
I
something that
do.
we
Oh, I love that record. If you want it that way, it's a couple of jams. Come save us,
oh,
come and save us.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
What
yeah, I love that CD.
you tripping me out? Well, yeah, Blu-ray Special. Wow. And
Yeah,
that,
man.
that record was like the total opposite of Fast and Funky Tears because we kind of rebelled because there was so much red tape.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
did Fast and Funky Tears. Like it took us 2 years to get that record out because there's so much politics going on with us. And who's gonna produce it? This and that.
yeah.
They were sitting on it for a while. And then finally you just kind of threw it out there. But Blue Light Special, I went and bought some Radio Shack mics. I bought a 12 track at a pawn shop and
Wow,
we recorded that record at my sister's and Crank, the keyboard
wow.
player, because they were together at the time. They had a house, and we did the drums in the kitchen, and it was that vibe. Like we were like I was mixing in the garage.
That's crazy.
It was like it was called Blue Light Special because it was such a ghetto
Yeah,
record, man. Like we did it for $3,000, which at that time was uh, unheard of.
yeah, yeah.
You know, $17 mics that get you that. But it had a vibe. But I always think of that record, and I think, man, now I always wish that record was recorded, like legit because there's some really good songs on that record.
Yeah, it's some songs they held up very well.
Yeah, well, I
E-
appreciate
Yeah,
it because
yeah, even today.
that's a very underground sounding record.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Talk a little bit about you guys actually getting signed to Reprise Warner Brothers. You guys actually getting the deal there.
man, that was a freak situation because I got hooked up with an intern that was just listening to material submitted at Warner Brothers, and he liked it, but he was kind of like he wasn't anybody there. He was trying to always get some A&R people to listen to it. He
Mhm.
didn't get anybody to listen to it, but we did get hooked up with an attorney, and he would submit, at least we had an attorney to submit our material to labels. We sent it to 26 record labels, and they all passed.
Did you guys have like a six song demo, or how many songs was it?
Yeah, it was something like that. We had like,
Okay, okay,
but five or six songs that they were shopping.
and everybody
And,
passed.
they all said the same thing.
Wow,
It's good. We like it. It's just not what we're looking for right now.
right.
But they all, every single label passed on it, man. And we happened to be on the show at the Music Machine. I don't know what it's called now, but it's called the Music Machine, like off of uh, West LA somewhere. And it was a Black Rock Coalition show.
Okay.
And we warmed up for a band called Total Eclipse. They're like a black rock band. And they used to be on Motown as Sound Barrier back in
Oh,
the late 80s.
okay.
Uh, they were headlining, but we like closed tonight. We weren't headlining, but we were like came on fourth. There was, and so it was an okay slot. But Warner Brothers was there to check them out,
Mhm.
and they happened to see us. We played 3 songs, and the power went out on us.
Oh
And so,
wow.
we were like, it was 9 of us in the band at the time, and we were all stomping on stage. and singing still with their power out. And Barry Squire came up to us after the show and said, "Wow, I never seen so much energy on stage, right?" And, that's how we got discovered. Uh,
Wow. Wow.
and it's so crazy because at that time we were already kind of jaded because we've heard so many people say they're interested. It's never panned out. And he said he'd like to set up a showcase, and that didn't happen for 6 months. So we didn't even think that was going to happen.
Yeah, yeah,
There's the industry's just crazy, man.
yeah, of course.
It takes a lot of thick skin and patience. You really have to love what you do because if you're like hanging on, waiting for something to happen, it kind of works your soul a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But we were fortunate. It panned out, and that Warner Brothers experience was a great experience. But we just weren't Hollywood. You
Yeah,
know, we didn't want to sell out and do all this stuff that they wanted to do for the second record. That's why you got Blue Light Special that never came out.
yeah.
You
So,
know,
so was it in between the first and the second album that they kind of were like they were kind of intervening about the style of the group, or what was the issue? Or
they what they wanted, and actually looking back, I should have done it. They wanted me to do the second record and just bring in a co-producer and a co-producer slash engineer, which we ended up using George Clinton's engineer. I can't remember his name. He used to mix all George Clinton stuff. He's the one who actually mixed Blue Light Special, but the song was that the record wasn't recorded in a way where you could really mix it. Like the drums were stereo
Mhm.
because it was 12 track. So, all you can really do is EQ the drums. You can't really mix the kick and
Yeah,
the snare and stuff. But I'm telling you, man, that record was ghetto.
yeah,
And, man, kills me. I can't remember his name, but I wish we would have done what Warner Brothers wanted us to do because
Mhm.
now, once I matured and wasn't so anti, that would have been a probably a cool thing to do it with him engineering it and co-producing it. That would
Yeah.
have been cool. But yeah, they actually we walked. We didn't get dropped. We walked
Right, right.
because one of us actually liked the record, and Benny Medina, who kind of hated on us with the first record, was the reason. Ironically, was the reason why we stayed on the label because he spoke up for us at an annual meeting and said, "Actually, I heard the new stuff and I like it." So while everybody else was getting dropped, they kept us because they like Blue Light Special.
Wow.
We had a manager come in who was managing Shy and to the, to the Extreme, like some R&B acts. And he kind of did some things with SlapBak's presentation that kind of threw off Warner Brothers. Like he brought in like a stylist that had the girls looking like in Vogue. He brought in like a choreographer. Like it didn't look like the magic that SlapBak had.
Mhm.
You know, uh, it wasn't us. It was fake. And
Wow.
Warner Brothers picked up on that. And so they just decided to push the record back 6 months. Like they didn't drop us. They just trying to figure out what to do because our manager was going like a weird direction.
Mhm.
But it gave us the option to walk if you wanted to. So our manager suggested that we did that and take it to another label. But
Wow.
it all fell apart right there because the you have 9 people and you have like the momentum of what are we doing? People started like losing interest. It just kind of fizzled. That
Oh,
first like
yeah,
fizzled because
yeah,
of that.
yeah. That's understandable. Yeah,
Yeah. So I said, well, let Warner Brothers keep the record. We'll just do another one.
yeah,
That's if we did. If it ain't broke, don't funk with it.
yeah.
The first version, which was again mostly me, and had my sisters on some stuff, and that's when TJ Quay got in the band.
Okay.
But man, Yeah, that was crazy times.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. A lot of changes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that change.
yeah. How did you get Larry Blackmon, Bootsy, and all the OGs to kind of step in on the first project? Was that Warner Brothers kind of had a foot in that too?
But Warner Brothers made the first connection because they put me
Okay.
with Amp Fiddler,
Ah, okay.
and then Amp uh, suggested that we work with P Funk, the P Funk camp. But I think Bootsy actually came to Warner Brothers too. I think
Yeah.
they reached out to Bootsy when we had our demo, and they're trying to figure out who was going to produce because they said I had to have a producer for the first record. So I said like Prince, you know what I mean? Prince called it imitation funk when he heard it. Uh, I,
Wow.
I I suggested Lenny Kravitz, but Lenny Kravitz was just out of their budget. He had just got big enough to where it was just a little bit too expensive. So I'm like, what about George Clinton? And they're like, he was already like $400,000 over his recording budget. That's when George was going big back then. So,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
they didn't trust doing that.
Yeah.
But they put me with Bootsy just because they were putting me with different writers. They had me, I was supposed to write with Tony Lamont, who was under Paisley Park.
Oh, wow.
And then he got killed in that motorcycle accident
Yeah.
3 weeks before we were supposed to get together.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of weird, ironic. I was supposed to write with Thomas Dolby, Steve Ferris for Mr. Mister. Just some weird, they're just trying stuff.
Really?
Uh, Ali Willis, who wrote some hits for Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wasn't into any of these ideas. David Gamson, who from Squiddy Politti, who
Wow.
who actually ended up doing that dope record with Roger at the time. If I had known that, I would have gone with David Gamson, but all I knew was Squiddy Politti of him. I'm like, that don't match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. But Bootsy, they just wanted me to write with.
Mhm.
And the vibe, man, Bootsy and I hit it off so good. Like, that was probably the best match that I had out of all the cats I worked with. And then Bootsy's the one who brought in George. The label didn't even know about it. Bootsy, like, held up kicking the due track on the phone to George, and George came down that night because he was in LA working on mixing Paint the White House Black.
Yeah.
And he came down and showed up with Don Silva, Sue Caldwell, Trey Lou, Fred Wesley. They all showed up in
That's
Michigan.
insane.
We're at my drummer's house. He had a studio in his backyard. My drummer's family was pretty well off, and he had a bomb ass studio in his backyard,
Yeah.
marble floors and everything. And his parents have like a little get together. They kind of up nice people, but they're kind of uppity white folks. And George them showed up. Them showed up.
I bet that was something to see.
Showed up with got a cheat on.
And this is the year he had the hair too.
The colored hair, all that,
Yeah.
man. They were like, what is going on? We were like, dude, we were so. That was like our heroes
Yeah.
showing up to work with us, and that's the experience I would never ever forget. I
Absolutely.
learned so much in that one night of working till 5 in the morning with George and Bootsy, and he threw Fred Wesley in there first, just to kind of give us some melody to jump, because I had the track and everything, and Bootsy don't put some guitar on there. But George just had Fred go out there first. He said, and set the whole thing off.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, that was their vibe. Working with Larry Blackmon was, I like Larry. We got along really cool, but he was very strict and had his way of doing things. And yeah, Larry was it's kind of his way or the highway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the sound that we got with Larry, I'll say the sound that I got because he didn't use the band. That was another problem for me. Is we're marketing this whole idea of a band, and Larry just wanted to use me in the studio. So we did 9 songs with just me.
Mm.
He wanted to use a band, and he wanted to
Okay.
change the name. He wanted to change the name to Jara because he did. Larry didn't think it made sense to call it SlapBak because he thought he's playing everything better than everybody else. So he wanted to make it like a Prince thing. And
Okay.
believe it or not, I wasn't into that idea because I'm like a very team driven. I like being
Yeah.
around the team. Like,
Yeah. And you guys have been forever, hitting the
yeah,
pavement. Yeah, you guys have
yeah.
been grinding already. Yeah.
But man, the older I got, I understood where Larry was coming from business wise, and especially since I've gone down with the ship so many times with band members.
Yeah. Right.
It might have made sense to establish myself first. But I get what he was trying to do, but
Right.
I,
Right.
I wasn't I wasn't into that.
Right.
I was down with my band, and he was taking everything and making it very stiff. Everything sounded very choppy, which
Uh,
I was hoping he was going to come in and approach it like the old Cameo stuff. He
yeah.
was trying he was trying to do something new. I'm
Okay.
like I was trying to do something old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So as far as like the sound, he wanted a certain sound, and that you
right,
wanted. Yeah. Yeah.
right. So everything. True Confessions only happened because Larry had a meeting that day. So it was me in the studio with his engineer, and he fired his engineer because of this. We were at Air LA, and we had a Hammond organ that the label was renting. We had a nice Yamaha recording series kit mic'd up, never used, because everything he did was we do on electronic drums and then go into the MPC and then quantize it. Everything was real stiff. So Larry wasn't there, and I'm like, hey, Chris, why don't we just, because I knew Chris, he's the engineer, I knew he wanted to mic up the drums. He goes, let's mic up those drums and I'll lay down a track,
Yeah.
since we're killing time. And I laid down the drums and the bass for True Confessions. And then Larry showed up. And right away, he showed up with that weird attitude, like we're doing something and he's not there. It was like a weird vibe. He was very controlling. And he's like, oh, the pocket's a little weird because he's used to that very quantized sound. So he goes, I go, let me put the pad down and see what feels better. So he at least let me do that. And I put the sustaining pad down. He goes, it feels better. So he used the vocals and he made the vocals very true confessions of love and the nasty. Like say stuff where he's like, that's not a word. You got to pronounce it. He was very about pronouncing the words love and the nasty sin. I'm like, it's taking all the swag out of it for me, you know what I mean? But I, it works with the Cameo stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Listen to the way Larry puts the vocals for Cameo, and it is very much, you know, uh, when he's doing "I'm pretty baby around the world,"
Yeah.
he's really, everything's like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it wasn't the vibe I was going for, but it worked. But that song really, it says he produced it, but he did produce the vocals. But everything else I produced because he got fired before we finished it. We
Okay.
took the tracks down to my drummer studio. Then I added the guitars, I added the strings, and we did the Hammond organ that we had and finished it. But yeah, that was an experience. But the cool thing was when I was working with Larry, I worked on Emotional Violence on the Cameo record,
Yeah. Yeah.
and and Larry is just a different kind of producer. It's you know what I mean, and it was cool. It's cool. Like I take everything I've learned from different people, and Larry definitely had stuff that I learned from. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
my vibe was just more Bootsy and George. That
yeah,
I
yeah,
would have loved for them to do the whole record.
yeah, yeah. I know that was a lot of fun, man. It had to be.
It was a lot of fun, man. Especially
Yeah,
working with Bootsy.
yeah. Talk a little bit about what kind of inspires you for like when you start a song or start writing? Because I know that I know you kind of mentioned earlier, and I know this too for a fact. Like what your live shows and then on record, you guys pull from new wave, a little bit of rock, a little bit of funk. You know, it's a what we call like a bouillabaisse of things happening. But
Yeah,
but
the mud.
but like so but for you personally, like when you go into your studio and you just start laying something down, what kind of just starts to put is it vocals first? Is it a melody? Is it just you start thumping on bass? What kind of gets the ball moving for you?
It's almost never ever vocals first, and probably not till 10 years ago I even really started putting emphasis on lyrics. I'm such a chord, groove, melody person,
Yeah,
and I hear that stuff all day long. But there would always have to be, I'd have to be inspired by the music first. And TJ is the same way, because TJ and I have written a lot of stuff together, a
yeah,
lot of stuff together over the years. And like Fast Food Funky Tears, it probably was the bass first. If there's a lot of bass lines on that record.
yeah,
And as I got more into like the 2000s, I was writing from guitar, mostly guitar. But yeah, the first early stuff was like bass and keyboards.
okay, okay,
I would write there, and then drums with sometimes drums first.
yeah,
But I'm a drummer first, so I
yeah,
think that was always the easy part. But bass lines, keyboards, but and then SlapBak the funk really came from the guitar in the later years, and people would still give me credit. It's like, oh man, the bass, the funk from the bass. I'm like, really, man? I'm like, I'm going bump bump. You know what I mean? I'm not doing what I was doing back in the day. It's
yeah,
all guitar parts. The bass is kind of like the accent, but the guitars and the drums is really where the funk comes
yeah,
from.
yeah.
And
That edge, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
but this record, I'm sure you've heard on this record. There's some bass, there's some bass happening on this record. There's some bass lines like the old days.
Yeah, that's actually what I was as I was listening to it, I was thinking that, and it's funny because coincidentally, you and I we kind of touched on. I told you I was listening to the Key like last week.
Okay,
Yeah, I was playing it in my car before you sent over Funk Lives Matter, me and you kind of had a
okay.
discussion about that. But then I played Funk Lives Matter, and I was listening to it, and I was like, man, this is signature stuff right here. It's classic slapback, and I
Right.
don't know if anybody's ever told you this, but you do have everybody has a sound that they kind of carry with them throughout their projects, and you and in slapback, you guys have it, and it's one of those things where you kind of have
I
to hone
appreciate
in
it.
on it, and you kind of
I,
have to
I
listen,
appreciate it.
listen, and it's like, okay, is that slapback? Like, and then you hear that Moog bass, or you hear something, it's like, oh yeah, that's them, that's the, that's them.
Man, whenever I always tell cats, I'm like, I always appreciate people say about our style, but I'm like, I always consider myself a student of the funk because there's so much that I've heard over the years that I
Yeah,
just chew up and try, you know, out of respect, I always try to have my own sound. But man, there's so much of what I've got from P Funk, Slave, Ohio Players, Bootsy, Cameo, Time. I mean, it's just all Gap Band. I listen to that stuff,
yeah,
but then because I listen to other stuff like Rage or Linkin Park or Limp Bizkit or B-52s or David Bowie, I have such a weird mix
yeah,
because I hear it all together. I'm like a big Def Leppard fan, so a lot of that stuff is in my guitar parts. I just make it funky, but it's a lot of them like Def Leppard parts.
yeah.
Have you seen the new? There's a new funk documentary that just came out on YouTube. I think it's called Funk History or something like that.
Yeah, I
It,
watched it. I did watch it. It
yeah,
was good. Yeah, it was
you know,
good.
I like that they had David Byrne on there from Talking Heads.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
I thought that was cool.
yeah. He was a nice addition to that.
Yeah, I like the way they approached that one because a lot of stuff, maybe our age, or we're probably around the same age, but
Hmm.
I'm 56, so I was born in 1969, so
Yeah,
I didn't, I didn't understand the movement part of it.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, I remember hearing One Nation Under Groove when I was 8. You know what I mean? My older brothers, siblings, sisters would play that stuff, but I didn't get what was behind the message.
Right.
So when I watch these documentaries, it's kind of cool because I'm like, damn, that even hits home a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, came up with Fast and Fucking Tears. I kind of got thrown in that bucket where people thought, oh, this guy's been a funkster all his life. I'm like, 5 years before that, I was into Duran Duran and Missing Persons, and
Right. 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 Yeah.
my era was Guy and Bobby Brown and New Jack Swing. That's the age.
The New
That
Jack
was my
era.
era.
Yeah.
But I went backwards and got into funk after it was already like after the heat of the funk already passed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was relevant because hip hop was sampling nothing but funk in the early '90s.
Mhm.
So it made funk relevant again. And
Yeah.
that's the train I was trying to jump on. It's like people sampling this stuff. Why don't I just do like a vintage funk record like Lenny Kravitz just did a vintage rock record?
Yeah.
That was that was my mindset.
Right.
Uh,
So that's the whole concept of slapback, basically.
right.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah, I
then,
can like that.
we did it. We did it pretty well. And we had we were fortunate to have some very respected funk names on there. So it automatically put us in that funk lane hard. So
Mm.
even later years, we would expand on like the other sounds that I'm into. Our, our roots were very heavy and funk because that's where people really accept the most. So, I'm working with Randy Jackson. He likes that as a very broad thing. He's like, no, you guys are funky, but when you guys hit the rock, it's like really rock. It's like legit. So he doesn't want it to be pigeonholed to like just funk.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a conflict because it was right at the time that we had decided before he approached us, we had just decided we're going to lean into funk more. So it was kind of like he was kind of pointing us a different direction, like funky, but not too funk.
Yeah.
Kind of watered down funk. You
Yeah.
know, just so it was like a broader audience, which I totally got his approach. I totally got what he was getting at. So we did dance around the idea for about 6 months.
Mhm.
And then it was the youngsters in the band. They're like 23, 24. They're like my daughter said one time in a meeting, she goes, but I thought we were going to bring funk back, you know? And when she said that, it just kind of hit me like, yeah, we are supposed to be doing funk.
I heard that.
And we met with Randy. We kind of had like a kind of a stir meeting, like, okay, we played around with the idea. We hadn't done anything yet, so no harm, no foul. But we're going to do this Funk Lives Matter record. And I brought the artwork printed out and everything to the meeting. And he looked at it and he goes, I like it. I like it. We're like, you do? He's like, yeah. Because I think he liked the fact that it was something that people can kind of identify with because of Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And man, I was so shocked that that was free and clear. And man, I got it trademarked and everything. I jumped on it because I thought for sure that'd be taken.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I looked at it as like a broader thing. We can have Funk Lives Matter, shows, festivals, like, whatever. Like, it's like
Yeah.
kind of thinking ahead. And Randy liked the whole idea. So it's cool. We started doing a record. I'm like, cool. So we're gonna do the record. Then uh, I'll let you hear it when it's done.
Uh-oh. And we know what happened then.
You know, and it's funny because he heard it, and when you first heard it, he had his things to say, and we were kind of like, okay, like, do you want us to do a record that's good songs or just songs that you happen to personally like? Because it's a lot of hit songs out there I don't like.
Yeah.
And so, like, this song has hooks. So we were always debating go back and forth. But I gotta say, Randy, because of Randy, it kind of made us do like a solid record because we did kind of have something to prove. Over the years, I got comfortable of just like I was kind of the the top of the iceberg. So I didn't really kind of did it to whatever was satisfactory to me.
Yeah.
Randy kind of put us at a place where it gave us some sort of like we kind of had something to prove.
Yeah.
So it's all good. We laugh about it now,
Yeah.
and but he likes the record. He likes the records.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's up, man. I heard
So,
that.
so we so we signed with his label, Greater Than, that's distributed through Virgin Music,
Okay.
and the record's not really coming out till June this summer.
Okay.
But the vinyl that we have was what I had just purchased myself before we knew we were going to sign with that company. So I just had the 100 coming anyway. So they're going to be kind of like collector's items because they're like the artwork's going to change a little bit for the next batch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll have at our show at the Mint, and cats like you and Funk Clone Radio, a couple other people are getting copies now just because you guys have been in the trenches with us. So I want you guys to have it before anybody else.
For sure,
Uh,
man. For sure.
I also did a thing with Gabe Gonzalez, and man, all you guys have helped keep SlapBak relevant and with the Funk family. And man, I mean, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate so much what you guys do. And even when I was sick, just for the spirit, to have my spirit lifted up by how you guys supported me and what I do and what the band does. That's why this record is called Funk Lives Matter. I don't care
Yeah.
what anybody. Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
no, I'm
Absolutely.
doing this record.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes total sense, man. Why the album
Yeah,
is titled that? Because like you said, man, and then you and your band, you guys are West Coast, Orange County,
right,
going hard in the trenches out here in California for years. All of us, we've been kind of all of us
right.
been crossing paths for years, man. Playing these
Yeah,
venues, playing these parks, playing these
yeah,
basements, playing here. And it's a matter of all of us, once we get to know each other, we just kind of all support each other and kind of uplift each
right.
other and keep this thing
Absolutely.
going and keep continuing to put good freaking music out there for our people.
And amen to that, bro. Yes.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, I have to do a Funk Lives Matter show with you guys. Doing the P Funk thing.
yeah,
Stop back and maybe talk to Norwood about getting Trulio, maybe a weapon of choice. Like, something cool like that for like the West Coast out here. Cause, we could always do stuff like that while we're in town. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because but that would be sick right there.
yeah. We need to definitely get something like that set up really, really soon because people need to know that all this good
Yeah,
music is out there.
right, right. Yeah, man. Yeah, I like the stuff you and Charlie Lake were doing too.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you so much, man.
Dope,
Appreciate it.
dope, man. Yeah, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the love and support as well, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think I'm cruising through these hills up here. I don't know if I'm going to lose you. Yeah,
That's all good, man. Nevertheless, I wanted to catch you and get caught up and let people know who you are, what you're about, this new album, where you funking at. You got a
right
show
on,
coming
man.
up at the Mint next week, April
And,
24th,
yeah,
Thursday night.
yeah, us and the other band is Funky too, Official Biz.
Yeah, Official Biz. Those are my people right there. Those are my brothers and my
Yeah,
sisters right there.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Official
They're
Biz will
putting
be
it
in the
down.
house too.
Yeah, I crashed the rehearsal last night. I'm like, all right, y'all. All right, shit.
Yeah,
They're putting it down. They're putting it down. It's gonna be
yeah, for
fun.
sure. Yeah, for sure.
Cool,
But yeah,
man.
Bunny Mail,
Are you,
all of
are you
yeah.
coming?
What's
Are
that?
you coming?
Am I
Are
from
you coming?
here? Yeah, I'm coming. Yeah, I'm gonna be there for sure.
All right, cool. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, you'll see
Um,
me. I'll be there.
okay.
Yeah, for sure,
Make
man.
it- make
I'll
it
be there. So
good.
yeah, I'll catch you next week for sure.
All right, my man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get it, bro.
My brother Jared, man, it's been a pleasure and an honor, man. I'm so glad we took this time to do this,
Likewise.
caught up, and let everybody know what's happening. If you don't mind, just
Fine.
letting everybody know where they can find you, if you want to lay your Instagram or Facebook handle or anything like that.
Yeah, Instagram /SlapBak, without the C, SLAPBAK. Facebook /SlapBak. We got the TikTok thing happening too. I think it's the same thing. I don't really mess with TikTok. That's our young singer that does that. And then and slapback.com, the store will be up next week. So once we do the record release, it'll be available too on the website. If you want to pick up the vinyl. And we
So,
got t-shirts. We got Funk Lives Matter t-shirts too. And I have one for you when I see you on Thursday.
all right, sound like a plan, man. I'll be looking out for
Like,
it.
yeah, I got you.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. Thank
All
you.
right, my brother.
All right, everyone.
Cool,
Thank you
man.
for tuning in. Jara Harris from SlapBak. Please look out for that Funk Lives Matter album coming out soon. And then go back and go get all the other material. Fast Food Funketeers, Too Black for Radio, that Duty to Funk, all those albums. Go back and buy all those other albums too. Those are funky as hell. But Funk Lives
Mm,
Matter coming soon. And
my
look out for your local listings throughout Orange County and LA for SlapBak coming at you soon. Jara Harris, I appreciate
brother.
it, brother. Thank you so
Much
much.
love, my brother.
All
All
right.
right, man. Peace, bro.
Peace.